Good morning. This is the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound Sound podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Steve Gill. Well, if you're a fan of the Browns getting a higher draft pick, things worked out pretty well. I would like them to get the highest draft pick, whether they use it on a quarterback or use it for something else. It doesn't matter. When you have great draft capital, you can draft starters, great players. So I'm all for that. I'm also always rooting for the Browns to win. So that's kind of tough right now, this time of year. So let's just take a look back and look at some of the good things. Even though Quinshon Judkins got hurt, they still were able to run the ball. That was their best rushing output this season, which is very encouraging. I thought the middle of the line, Bitonio, Whippler, and Tavon Jenkins played pretty good. They're still inconsistent. Obvious they need tackles. I mean, we all know that. I still would try and sign KT Livingston and have him compete for a swing tackle. I don't know about Cam Robinson, but they need to draft, sign, trade for as many tackles as humanly possible. I want them to do the offensive line like they did the quarterback this past year, where they overloaded the quarterback room. Yeah, let's do the same thing with offensive linemen. You can find good guards in the draft. You can find good guards free agency. It would not surprise me if they will trade for a tackle. I'd love to see that. Good tackles aren't going to come cheap, but there are some on the open market. I'll be doing after the season's over, I'll be doing my blog, dawgpoundsouth.net. I'll list some guys that I think could be available. But getting back to the game, and I know Luke Whippler holding penalty, which didn't really look like a holding penalty, negated a 40-yard run, but they still went down and got a touchdown. So they made up for it. Other good things to look at. Sanders' play. He has improved. The things that the Bears defense did to him in disguising their coverages, he learned. He learned from it. So that's good. That's you want to see that. You want to see a young player like him learn game to game. And he is learning game to game. I said this at the beginning of the season, before he was even drafted by the Browns, that he would be in the he would either in 2 years be a good starter or in 2 years be out of the league. And I still maintain that, although he is improving. But when the game mattered, he went back to old bad habits. Now, before that point, he was getting rid of the ball very quickly. He only had held on to the ball 2.89 seconds. That's under 3 seconds is phenomenal. But late in the game, yeah, that'll come. I'm still kind of on the fence if I want the Browns to build around Sanders or draft one of the two, because right now there's only two guys that I would be interested in if the Browns were available to take a quarterback. That's Mendoza and Dante Moore. That's it. And Moore kind of scares me because of his lack of playing time in college. That's the only thing that scares me about him. Watched him on Saturday. Phenomenal athlete. He is very impressive, but his lack of playing time, that's the same thing that scares me about the Alabama quarterback. Lack of playing time in college. But I am not the one who makes that decision. So we'll see. See how Dante Moore does against Texas Tech, who has a phenomenal defense. So that'll be a great game to watch if you're a Browns fan and you want to know about the quarterbacks. Love Raheem Sanders. Everybody, I've been talking about Raheem Sanders. Trayvon Williams also. Running game really picked up with both of them. You got to give Andrew Berry credit. I mean, these guys didn't just walk up to the door and knock on it and say, please, would you sign me? Andrew Berry went out and found him, signed him, even though he drafted 2 running backs and had a veteran running back with a guaranteed contract on the roster already. So I give him credit for finding these 2 guys because they're going to carry the load. Unless Dylan Sampson comes back, they're going to carry the load the next 2 games against Pittsburgh and at Cincinnati. I really liked how the team did not give up. A lot of people in the media were saying, well, when they played in Chicago, that the team had given up. I didn't see that. Sure, coaches can get a team prepared, but it's up to the players to be prepared. And they were fighting yesterday. They were fighting. So that was another good thing. Harold Fannin is a phenomenal talent. No doubt about it. He is your tight end of the future. And he is a weapon that they use. I'm glad to see Aiden Huntington back in the backfield. Glad to see Zach Zinter in the backfield playing to improve the running game. So, I mean, at one point, the Browns were 8 of 10 on third down. They finished 8 of 14. And we know how those last 4 ones turned out. That's the one thing about Sanders that scares me, but we'll talk about that after the break. But 8 of 14 on third down, that's impressive. And that first drive was very impressive. And in the third quarter, when you've got 2 backup running backs who are on the practice squad getting good chunks of yardage and getting first downs, also good. Again, offensive line, inconsistent. What else is good? Let's take a break. All right, let's go to the bad parts. Of course, the Judkins injury is the worst. But luckily, if there's no ligament damage in his knee, and it doesn't sound like there is, it's probably conservative a 5 to 6 month recovery period. So that puts him back, and he's going to have surgery this week. So that puts him back in plenty of time. I heard a lot of people grousing on social media. Why is he in there if it's a meaningless game? Well, if he wasn't in there, you guys would be complaining, oh, they're tanking, they're giving up. The players have given up on Stefanski. You want to see a team that's given up? Go back and watch a little bit of the Kansas City Titans game. The Chief players have totally hung it up. They are in Cancun mode right now. But do you think the Kansas City media is going to call for Andy Reid's head? No, they're not. But they are. They no effort whatsoever. They've given up. So the Browns players have not given up, which tells me they still respect their head coach and they're still playing for their head coach. So, I know the Cleveland media are going to try to blame something on Kevin Stefanski. But having Judkins in there playing for rookie bonuses on the third to last game, I'm not going to blame him at all. The kid's trying to get 1,000 yards. He probably has something in his contract for 1,000 yards, for games played, for number of snaps, and all that kind of stuff. And it wouldn't surprise me that they go ahead and give him his bonuses after the season, but you won't hear about that. Players are going to play. Maybe week 17, you start sitting people who are iffy, but that's it. Kansas City's already started that. Defense, run defense, first half, yuck, terrible, just terrible. I don't know what the problem was. I could see what the major problem was. They weren't filling the gaps like they should have. I know a lot of people complained that Mike Hall wasn't playing. He was sick for 2 days. That's why he wasn't playing today. So let's stop that garbage. He would have helped. Malik Collins, they weren't really stopping the run when Malik Collins was in there. I don't know what the change has been, but you could see the dramatic improvement at halftime. They came out and played much better. Blaming Mason Grant for taking away Myles Garrett's sack. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. If you see the play and see Josh Allen going back, Mason Graham wanted to get to him in case there was a safety. You know, you touch him and any part of that ball is in the end zone, he's down, and that's a safety. And that would drastically change the complexion of the game at that point. The Browns would have got the ball back. They would have got 2 points. They could have gone down and got a touchdown. Maybe the field goal would have worked, and they would have been only at least down by 5 at halftime. And the way the defense played in the second half, that would have been that 2 points could have been the difference. Okay. Wyatt Teller not playing. I don't know where we got this concept that he is the best offensive lineman on the Browns. He's not. Joel Bitonio is. And matter of fact, he's struggled in the last 2 years. So it does not surprise me they signed Tavon Jenkins. I was glad they signed Tavon Jenkins because I knew he was probably going to replace Wyatt Teller, and I looked forward to it. As for Joel Bitonio, I'm hearing that he really loves the offensive line coach. I don't know if he's still going to retire. I hope not. You bring him back. Luke Whippler just needs to put on a few extra pounds, some more muscle. You plug in Tavon Jenkins, who had a good game, and then you just build the rest of the offensive line. Like I said, trade, free agency signing, draft, and you get yourself a new offensive line. Also, wide receivers. Finally, of course, the bad snap on the field goal. I mean, you know, Ventrone will be gone after the season's over. Shedeur Sanders needs to learn late in the game that there are times when you cannot take a sack, but yet he still takes a sack. On the tip pass that Bosa got, I knew what they were trying to do, but he totally missed Cedric Tillman across the middle. He was available. I don't want defenses to get a book on him like they had on Baker Mayfield. That all you got to do is wait, and you can tip a pass. How many passes did Mayfield have batted down? He needs to pay attention to where the defense is. Now, like I said, they tried to do some disguising of coverages like the Bears did, and he saw it right away. So I'm giving him full credit for learning from one game to the next. But late in the game, he holds on to the ball too long. I mean, that one sack with 5 minutes left, he had the ball for almost 5 minutes, 5 seconds, 5 minutes. Sorry. Almost had it for 5 seconds. I know he's trying to make a play, but there are times when you just have to think. So hopefully he's all right. That finger looked pretty bad on TV. I was watching it. Oof, man, I think he tore his fingernail off. And having lost a fingernail, that's painful. Let me tell you, that's not a good thing. So now, what else? The fans booing when Dylan came in, and the knee-jerk reaction. Don't do that. I mean, wait till you find out what's going on. It was obvious. The trainers were all around him. It's not like he was over by the blue tent. All you got to do is look on the sideline, and you could see what was going on. All in all, I hate that the Browns lost. I'm always rooting for the Browns to win. But like I said, those Browns fans who are hoping for a better draft pick, it was a positive outcome. Like I said, team hasn't given up. They're still playing hard. I still don't believe Kevin Stefanski or Andrew Berry will be fired. I still don't believe that. I do believe Bubba Ventrone will be fired as soon as the season's over, which he deserves. And I'm really, really getting a little concerned about Jim Schwartz's run defense. Last year they weren't good. This year they're getting into bad habits again. I don't know. They gave up a hell of a lot of yards in the first half. I mean, like I said, I'm really appreciative that they came out and played with more gusto in the. I mean, they stopped the Bills on their first drive. You can't complain about that. And they gave the offense an opportunity to win the game against a very, very good team. So they're still playing hard. Don't start pulling players now. You got a game against the Steelers. Love to see Miles get the sack record against the Steelers. That would be a very nice storyline. So that's it for today. This has been the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Steve Gill, and we're Browns fans just like you, and we appreciate you following, watching, listening, and subscribing. Just a reminder, we do have a TikTok account. Go find us on TikTok, find us on YouTube. Everybody have a great day. It's not that bad, Browns fans. Not that bad. So everybody have a great day and go Browns.